You've replayed that moment 1,000 times. The choice you didn't make. The words you didn't say. The person you lost. And even though life moved on, your mind didn't. Because regret isn't just a memory. It's a ghost that keeps visiting. You don't live in the past. But part of you still does. And until you understand why, you'll never really move forward. Why regret hurts so much? Regret is the brain's way of punishing you for not knowing better. Back when you didn't know better. It's your mind trying to rewrite time. Trying to find a version of the story where you don't lose. But the past doesn't bargain. It only echoes. That's why it hurts so deeply. You're arguing with something that will never argue back. The loop of if only. If only I had tried harder. If only I had left sooner. If only I had said yes. Regret feeds on those words. It survives by keeping you in the loop. Because your brain mistakes replaying the past for fixing it. Every time you revisit it, you feel a little control. A sense that maybe, somehow, thinking harder will change it. But it never does. You're just getting better at reliving pain. The illusion of control. Regret is control in disguise. It makes you believe you're learning. But what you're really doing is refusing to let go. You're not addicted to the memory. You're addicted to the fantasy of a different ending. That fantasy keeps you trapped. Because deep down, it's not the event you miss. It's the version of you that never made that mistake. How regret rewrites your identity. Over time, regret stops being about what happened. It becomes who you are. You stop saying, I made a mistake. And start saying, I am the mistake. That's when regret turns from pain into identity. When you start believing that the past version of you was smarter than the one standing here now. But the truth is the opposite. You're wiser because of regret. Not in spite of it. The science of regret. Neuroscience shows that regret activates the same areas of the brain that process pain and learning. It's meant to teach you, not torture you. But when you don't give it closure, the lesson becomes a loop. You're not stuck because of the event. You're stuck because your brain keeps confusing reflection with punishment. Why we cling to regret? We hold on to regret because it feels safer than forgiving ourselves. Pain is familiar. Forgiveness is frightening. If you forgive yourself, you have to admit that the story is over. And most people would rather live in pain than live without the story. That's the hidden comfort of regret. It keeps you close to what you lost. The moment of release. But what if regret isn't meant to be erased? Just understood. What if moving on isn't forgetting the past, but forgiving the person you were when you didn't know what you know now? You can't move on by changing the story. You move on by changing what it means to you. Acceptance and peace. The goal isn't to stop feeling regret. It's to stop fearing it. Because every regret you've ever had was a lesson in disguise. A reminder that you care. That you tried. That you were alive enough to want something better. Regret doesn't mean you failed. It means you were brave enough to choose. And human enough to wish you could choose again. So maybe the question isn't, how do I move on? Maybe it's, how do I let myself grow? Because moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without suffering. You can't change the past. But you can stop letting it own you. You don't move on by forgetting the past, you move on by forgiving yourself for it.